Hey there, everybody. It's Joel. I'm back with a new album rankings episode. Before I begin, over the last month I've done rankings on albums from Danzig, Testament, Pantera, and last week's Slayer. And apparently the Danzig episode got most views, but since then nobody cared about the Testament or Pantera or Slayer episodes. Well, once you're done watching this episode, you can like my channel and check out the four episodes I mentioned. They are in my playlist, which you can check out in the description box. This week, I ranked the 10 best hard rock and heavy metal albums of 1991. Let's begin the 10 best hard rock heavy metal albums of 1991 with Pearl Jam's debut titled 10. Founding members Stone Gossard and Jeff Ament started a new band following the dissolution of their previous band, Mother Love Bone, which saw the untimely demise of their singer Andrew Wood. This album has a reputation of being the quintessential grunge rock album, even though 10 would not be successful until a year later, reaching number 2 on the Billboard 200 and going 13 times platinum. The standout tracks include Black, Daughter, and the 3 singles, Alive, Even Flow, and Jeremy. Not bad for a beginning band like Pearl Jam. Next, taking the 9th spot is Hollywood Vampires, the third studio effort from LA Guns. While not as successful as Cocked and Loaded, but it did produce a few radio-friendly tunes like Kiss My Love Goodbye and My Cuckachoo. And they attempted to aim another hit ballad with It's Over Now, which was their best effort, even though they had other ballads like Crystal Eyes and the 1950s style I Found You. Despite the failed attempts to repeat the success of The Ballad of Jane, LA Guns' Hollywood Vampires reached number 42 on the Billboard 200, and I ranked this in 9th place on the list. Badmotorfinger, the third album from Soundgarden, takes the 8th spot. It was around that time grunge started to take over the pop music mainstream, and hair metal was getting phased out. However, Soundgarden still had those heavy metal riffs on songs like Jesus Christ Pose, Outshined, and Rusty Cage. The album made it to number 39 on the Billboard 200 and went double platinum. But in later years, 2017 to be exact, and other categories in Billboard, Badmotorfinger reached number 23 on the digital album charts, number 6 on the hard rock album charts, number 33 on the top album sales charts, number 7 on the US top catalog album charts, number 13 on the US top rock album charts, and number 12 on the US vinyl album charts. Not bad at all. Matter of fact, it was very good. Alice Cooper's Hey Stupid is the follow-up to the commercially successful Trash album, getting the 7th spot on this list. And even though the album was not as successful as Trash, Hey Stupid has some kick-ass cuts like the title track, Die For You, Love's a Loaded Gun, and the anthemic Feed My Frankenstein, which featured 2 virtuosos on guitar, Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, performing on the track, along with Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx. Hey Stupid reached the top 50 on the Billboard charts, while number 4 in the UK. It's still a good album regardless of not being successful as Trash. Next, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, or FUCK, Fuck, from Van Halen, is in 6th place. It's the 3rd straight Van Halen album to reach number 1 on the Billboard 200, and it went triple platinum. Ted Templeman, for the first time since 1984, produced the album, along with Andy Johns. And this is the 3rd straight Van Halen album to feature Sammy Hagar on lead vocals. The standout tracks include Pound Cake, Run Around, Top of the World, Right Now, and other cuts like Judgment Day and Man on a Mission. One of Van Halen's most memorable albums of that Sammy Hagar era. Next, No More Tears, the 6th studio album from Ozzy Osbourne, takes the 5th spot. This one was, and still is, Ozzy's strongest effort since he started his quest for sobriety after getting off the drugs and alcohol, which got him fired from Black Sabbath a decade plus earlier. Having songwriting contributions from Zakk Wylde, who was his guitarist at the time, and Motorhead's Lemmy Kilmister, who contributed on songs like I Don't Want to Change the World, Desire, Mom Coming Home, and Hellraiser. Matter of fact, the song Hellraiser would end up on Motorhead's next album, March or Die, which was released in 1992. Since its release, it reached number 7 on the Billboard 200, went quadruple platinum, 4 million copies sold. Featuring the aforementioned Mom Coming Home, Road to Nowhere, Mr. Tinker Train, and of course the title track, No More Tears. The first of 2 Guns N' Roses efforts makes it on this list, as Use Your Illusion 2 takes the 4th spot. This one featured songs that were written and demoed during and after 1987's Appetite for Destruction. This one was a little weaker than Use Your Illusion 1, mainly because it didn't have many hits. All it had were standouts like Civil War, which was the last Guns N' Roses song Steven Adler performed on drums before he was fired. Yesterdays, their cover of Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door, You Could Be Mine, which was featured in the movie Terminator 2, and the epic Estranged. And by the way, the music video for Estranged had been the most expensive music video to make. You cannot get away with that shit nowadays, but Guns N' Roses did it with Estranged. Use Your Illusion 1 from Guns N' Roses takes the 3rd spot. Now this had some solid stuff, as a lot of the material was written and demoed before Appetite for Destruction. It's kind of funny because while this one debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, Illusion 2 debuted at number 1. But Illusion 1 was more stronger than Illusion 2 due to the songs like Don't Cry, the epic power ballad November Rain, The Garden of Eden, Dead Horse, and their cover of Wings' Live and Let Die. As of this recording, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 sold a combined 14 million copies in the United States alone. Something no other band did, having those 2 albums sold that many copies in a 2-album piece. Never before, and probably never again. Next. The runner-up has to be Skid Row's second effort, Slave to the Grind. This is the only Skid Row album to reach number 1 on the Billboard 200, and went double platinum. Although this didn't sell many more than their debut did, Slave to the Grind for me is Skid Row's most popular record. I like the songs Monkey Business, Quicksand Jesus, Riot Act, Mud Kicker, Creep Show, and Wasted Time. There is also a profane-laden track called Get the Fuck Out, but a clean version of the album replaced the song with Beggar's Day. Skid Row would open up for Guns N' Roses as part of their world tour, but before becoming a headlining act the following year. Slave to the Grind rocks. Before I get to number 1, I would like to put an honorable mention in, which I should have done, and this should have been on this list anyway. However, this album would not achieve mainstream success until later that year and early into the next year in 1992, and that would be Nirvana's Nevermind. I believe this, along with Pearl Jam's 10 and Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger, were what truly started the grunge movement, as Nirvana hit big with Smells Like Teen Spirit and Come As You Are, 2 songs that still get airplay on classic rock radio stations today. The cultural impact on this album had popularized the entire Seattle grunge scene and made alternative rock a cool thing in the early 1990s. Since Nevermind came out, the album topped the charts in the US and 12 other countries and went diamond. That means 10 million copies sold in America alone. The best album of 1991 happens to be Metallica's self-titled 5th record, also known as the Black Album. That album became their bestseller, selling 30 million worldwide. That includes being 16 times platinum here in the United States. This album was Metallica's first number 1 album on the Billboard 200, produced by Bob Rock, who before this produced Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood, an album review I reviewed recently, just last week. You can check that review out for yourself. Anyway, the Black Album in recent years happens to be overrated by many critics. Despite all that criticism, the Black Album got widespread critical acclaim and features legendary tracks like Enter Sandman, Wherever I May Roam, Sad But True, Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven, and other cuts like Holier Than Thou and Don't Tread on Me. The Black Album had marked a change in Metallica's music from thrash to a slower, heavier, and more refined sound to make them more commercially successful. So here's a quick recap of the top-ranked rock metal albums of '91. Pearl Jam was just starting out with 10. Soundgarden was finding their groove with Badmotorfinger. Van Halen was still surviving with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. The two GNR albums, Use Your Illusions 1 and 2, overbloated but massively successful. Ozzy's No More Tears, as I stated, was the strongest since he got clean and sober. Skid Row's Slave to the Grind is just a lot more heavier than their debut, even though it sold less than the first record. And of course, we got the Black Album from Metallica, which remains, in my opinion, the best rock metal album of 1991. This has been Album Rankings for the Sunday. See you next week.
No.